Hey there, welcome back to the Realm of History. We have our live review session tonight, special review, getting ready for Chapter 15 quiz on Africa tomorrow. It's been a minute since we've had a live review, so just want to get back in this swing of things. Thank you for being here. Just a couple of quick reminders before we get into the live agenda. First of all, give me a shout in the comments. Let me know that you're here. And then also, if these videos have been benefiting you, go ahead and hit the like button for me. That'd be great to mess with the YouTube algorithm. And then also in the introduction, I had the Realm Drive slide there. Please consider donating. The last day of collection is going to be on Tuesday. We're trying to do something to help those that are less fortunate than us as a Realm family. I think it'd be a nice show of gratitude and respect and character and integrity and of course charity. So if you have gloves, hats, hand warmers, socks, bring those in. We've been collecting those for about a week right now. Looking forward to donating those to Auntie Na's organization in Detroit to help the homeless population there. All right, let's get into the live agenda. So for tonight, just talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. First off, I've got some key advice for you. Number 2, we'll do key terms, key figures, short answer clues. Number 3, we'll do AP advice. Do have a commercial break for you in the middle. Today's going to be a little bit longer. And number 5, we've got the Hunger Games. Chance for extra credit. See how that works out. Everybody's eligible. AMSCO edition, don't forget. And then number 6, we'll close it off with some question and answer session. Let's get into the key advice. It's been a while since we talked. I think number 1, you only had 3 sections, so don't take it lightly, though. Make sure that you read your notes carefully. And then whatever is on the review sheet, focus on not only that part of the notes, but what's above and below. Any maps that I had on the board in class, any things I told you in the notes to write down, put a star by, those are things to make sure that you have a really good understanding of. I do have 3 video lessons. You could always rewatch those to hear my voice teach you the information again. That's always a possibility there. Use the review sheet to quiz yourself. The reason I make you do it on a separate sheet is so that you can look at the blank review sheet and see if you know all of the definite answers there. Okay, next thing, I want you to pray for the right things, right? Make sure that you understand that this quiz is not the most important thing in the world. It's important to your grade, but listen, there's so many more important things out there that we can pray for. With Thanksgiving coming up, making sure that we're praying the prayer of gratitude, right? Expressing our thank you to our family, to the good Lord for guidance. I would not say to pray for success on this quiz, but rather ask the good Lord to help you to use your talents to the fullest. Give your best effort. I think those are the things that you can pray about. And I also just think, once again, saying that prayer of gratitude for all of the blessings that have been bestowed upon you. Think about where we are, the fact that we're focused on studying for a quiz where others are going through major things in their lives right now. So, when you wake up each day, make sure you thank the good Lord. Say, thank you for giving me this day. When you get in your car and it starts, thank you, good Lord, for letting this car start. And when you get to school safely, thank you, good Lord. And if you can continue to do that, I think you'll be a champion in my book, at least. Number 3 for tomorrow, I want you to be here now. That's our motto. That's always our motto. You got to focus on the task at hand. When you get to my class, whether it be 2nd hour, 3rd hour, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever hour you have me, when you come in the realm, hey, pop in history, right? And focus on chapter 15. At that point, nothing else matters. At that point, the only thing that you can control is your attitude and effort toward this quiz. So worried about nothing else but that quiz at that time. Next, I say this every week, but if you have to stop the video right now, go talk to your parents. Make sure you say thank you to them for everything that they've done for you. Show your gratitude to them. Tell them that you love them. Say it to them before you go to bed. Whatever you need to do, but they're a key factor in why you're here and why you're so successful in life. So please make sure you do that for me. And then finally, I always try to challenge you. You know that I'm going to try to make a challenge. Tomorrow, I think the AP part, definitely a challenge. Now I'm going to give you some clues tonight. Pay attention for the commercial break. There might be some clues there. But listen, it's going to be a challenge. You got to make sure you meet the challenge. Don't shy away. Don't skip school. Make sure that you show up, that you're being here now and ready to take on the challenge. Okay, next, We're going to get into some key terms and figures. We're going to go through, I'd say, about 80% of the review sheet. So make sure you're ready. Follow along with your review sheet. Write things down that we go over. A lot of my students who do really well, they have an entire 3 or 4 pages in their packet that just summarizes these review sessions. And they seem to do really well on the quizzes consistently. So I think it's a good tactic. Here we go. The first order of business, one of the first things that we learn about stateless societies. Stateless societies are areas of control that don't really have a centralized form of government. They don't have a king that everybody kind of follows back to. They're usually led by what we learned as lineage groups, those family networks, okay? So therefore, power is much more spread out. And within these stateless societies, these lineage groups, conflicts are usually settled through long discussions, negotiations, discussions in groups that kind of relate back to a chief who's kind of really just the moderator. But that's basically what you want to know about a stateless society. Next is a form of language that was developed. This comes from section 3, Swahili. Swahili is a language that was developed as a mixture and blending of Arabic and Bantu, actually. That says Swahili, but it's Arabic and Bantu, which was used to assist with trade along the eastern coast of Africa. It was a language that facilitated trade. Next is Portugal. Why would Portugal have anything to do with the chapter on Africa? Well, see, what happened is along the east coast of Africa, which was talked about in section 3, Portugal began to create colonies. And they did this for the purpose of trade. Oftentimes, they would use cannons to bomb city-states like Kilwa, Mombasa, Sofala, and they would take those over and turn them into trading posts. The Portuguese started off, the first goal was to create trade, then eventually later turned into slave trade. Next is going to be I've lumped together the Almoravids and Almohads. That doesn't mean you don't need to know about them individually, but what I want to talk about and what's going to be assessed on the quiz is that they're both Islamic reformers and they practice strict adherence to Islamic law. And one of the other things that they're similar about is that they're both inhabitants of northern Africa in what we know as the Maghreb region. That brings me to my next term, which is the Maghreb. The Maghreb is a region of North Africa along the Mediterranean Sea, kind of the modern day countries of Morocco, Tunisia, Algiers. It was definitely under Islamic control. And as we said earlier, the Almoravids and Almohads, they're the descendants of a group called the Berbers, who were the original inhabitants of the Maghreb region. Next, we move into West Africa. We're going to talk about Ghana. Ghana was a kingdom, an empire of West Africa that became rich by taxing goods that traders carried through their territory. Eventually, they did get involved in the gold salt trade. But first, their wealth came from taxation of traders. I do see that there are 60 comments. I haven't opened them yet because I'm going through my banners, but I will get to the comments. Remember, we will have question and answer, but there's a couple other things that we need to do before. The next key term is Songhai. Songhai was an empire that was very long time part of the Empire of Mali. And eventually they became an independent trading power on their own with the gold salt trade. One of the first things that we learned about was the Fa tribe. The Fa was a forest-dwelling hunter-gatherer society. Next is the Hausa. The Hausa came from the printed notes that I gave you at the end of section 2. They're actually a West African group of city-states, and they had frequent fighting and conflict within, fighting with each other, which kind of prevented them from ever becoming a very strong empire. Next, we're going to go to the east coast of Africa and talk about a city-state called Kilwa. Kilwa was an important trade city that was located along the eastern coast of Africa, and it controlled the overseas trade of gold from southern Africa, and it participated in trade with India along what's called the Indian Ocean trade. It was like the southernmost part of where traders from India and Africa could travel due to the monsoon-like winds that prevented you from going too far north. Next is the city of Great Zimbabwe. Great Zimbabwe was on the thumbnail of this video. Great Zimbabwe was a major trading city. It had a 30-foot stone wall, which we think is a defense wall, but actually most historians and archaeologists suggest that it was really there to just impress its visitors, because we don't find any evidence of staircases that would allow soldiers to walk up and use archery at the top. So there's not much evidence that it was a defense wall, but rather just a show of power. It was also the economic, political, and religious center of the Zimbabwe Empire. For the final term that we're going to go over tonight, it's going to be the age set system. It's basically a group of people born in a certain area and time period that go through the duties, the roles, and stages of life together. I kind of likened this to like club hockey teams where you get kind of bracketed into, like, you're in 07 or you're in 06 or you're in 05. And so you kind of go through the same stages in the hockey career with people who are from your general location and same age level. Okay, now I want to give you some clues on the short answer. So I'm looking at the quiz right now. What I would like to say for the short answer, there's really two short answer questions. I'm not going to tell you the actual question, but I'm going to give you some really important tips right now. Number one, you need to know the 3 types of societies in Africa that I taught you in section 1. First one are the hunter-gatherer societies. The second would be the stateless societies. And then the third would be the Islamic states. So I'm not going to go over like the breakdown of each one, but that is there for the taking for you. There is an important page in the book in section 1 that kind of does break that down for you. So I would really strongly suggest that you check that out. Next, the second key question is going to be involving West Africa. You want to think about all the different groups that we learned about in West Africa: Mali, Songhai, Ghana, right? Hausa, Benin, Yoruba, all of those different groups. You want to be able to say, hey, what did they have in similar? What was something in common that they had? Gold salt trade, gold in general, converting to Islam, artwork, right? The Benin bronzes. So you want to think about all of those different factors in answering the short answer questions. Now, next piece of advice is going to be AP advice. So please pay attention closely. I want to talk about the MCQ topic first. The other topic, I've got a commercial break for you. So I'll take a little break from talking and you can listen to the commercial. But basically, the MCQ is going to focus on East Africa, and in particular, the city-state of Kilwa. This is the topic of the stimulus. Okay, the stimulus is East Africa and Kilwa. Focus on inter-regional trade. If you need to look up what inter-regional means, then do so. I've already taught you what it means in previous quizzes, but feel free to look it up. And that's basically a very big tip on what's coming your way for the MCQ. Now, the clue starts now, but I'm going to head us into commercial break here. A very wealthy man gave me the inspiration for this commercial break. Here we go. Please pay attention. I'm only going to play this once, so you'll have to pick up on it quick. Here we go.
Hey, y'all. This here's guest speaker on Storytime with Master Langle. Now, my name's Trapper John, and I've been doing this for quite some time. I got a little clue for y'all for tomorrow's quiz on the AP portion. Now, I'm going to share this riddle with you, and you're going to have to listen up closely. Now, here we go. The good book of blue holds the answer true. Pick it up and explore what you must adore. The sought-after clue lies within. The margin of error is very thin. It's not too hard if you think again. Hey, isn't that just metacognition?
Ooh, there's your clue. So, commercial break with a little clue action there for you on basically what would be the topic of the SAQ question. So maybe you can piece it together. We'll see how good you are at puzzles. Let me know if you think you know the answer. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong, though. All right, here we go. Everybody better be ready. It's time to bring back the Realm Hunger Games, AMSCO edition. All of the questions are going to be brought into the live review from AMSCO. Everyone's eligible to answer. So I'm going to be going to the comments to see who's the first baller, ballerina, and whatnot to get the question right. So, hey, whatever's on my screen is the one that counts. Doesn't matter what screenshots you guys got. It's whatever shows up first on my screen. So I've got 5 questions, and here we go. First question is, what empire was the home of the city of Timbuktu? Everybody's searching their book, it seems like. Let's see. Fresquez says Ghana first, but then Luke S says Mali. So that's point for second hour. Luke S. Is that Luke Sal, though? Or who is that? Give me some reference there. I think either way, it's second hour. It's either Soderberg or Salick. All right. So, yes, that's the answer, Mali. Who's this Sir Ducky guy? Didn't he say some really inappropriate comments last time? I think we might have to bounce him from the meeting. Well, he hasn't said anything. Let's see. Has he said anything off topic today? No. All right. You can stay for now, Sir Ducky, but there's a duck gang out against me, so we're going to be paying close attention here. Okay. Here we go. Next question. So right now, second hour's in the lead. Next question is going to be, what modern country were the Hausa kingdom / city-states located? E. Marshall says Nigeria, and that is correct. Ethan Marshall, and that's fifth hour. E. Marsh is from fifth hour. So fifth hour on the board with a point. Yes, indeed. I'm double checking. That is correct. E. Marshall, well done, sir. Okay, so we got a tie, second hour and fifth hour right now. Okay, next up, we've got question number 3. What historical writer formed the basis for what we know about Mali? Looks like Jeremy B. Iban. No, he said Iban Takuka. Hold on. We got. Oh, this is interesting. Olivia just said Iban. T. Oatman says the correct answer first. Iban Batuta. So T. Oatman representing fifth hour, taking 2 points thus far. Fifth hour jumps into the lead with the T. Oatman answer. Wow. We have 2 questions left. So this could be coming down to the wire here. All right. Where does the water from an oasis come from? Where does the water from an oasis come from? Luke Sal, underground, 0.4 second hour. So it's a tie ball game between second hour and fifth hour. So we got to have somebody from second hour or fifth hour get this last one right. Okay, it's tie ball game. So let's see what happens here with the last question. Here we go. Final question. Who was the founding ruler of Mali? Who was the founding ruler of Mali? This is really fun, by the way. Let's see here. We got a lot of people answering. I got to check the records. A lot of people got it right, but it looks like Somer, representing second hour, says Sundiata. So second hour wins with 3 points to fifth hour's 2 points. Well done, second hour. Somer wins it with Sundiata. That is correct. Well done, Master Somer. Okay. Well, now it's going to be really hard for me to find any of the questions that were previously asked, but it is time. It is time now for question and answer session. Go ahead and fire away with any questions that you might have. I'll do my best to answer those for you. So let's see where we're at. Give me a minute. I'll scroll up. Everybody's getting on John Brown's case. He did his best. He had the right answer, just not always first to get it. That's all. It's very difficult. Okay, I think we're just going to go with new questions. It looks like everybody was checking in. Thank you for that. Hunger Games are the thing. That's type. Let's see here. Okay. New comments. Hi, Emma. Hey, look at that. What's up there, baller? Nice to see you. Okay, Luke has a real question here. Can you review African trade items and Mombasa? Well, I'll talk about Mombasa first. Mombasa was one of the key East African trade cities. So not so concerned about Mombasa. I know that they are on the review sheet, but I would say for the definition, just understand that it's an East African trade city right along the Indian Ocean, involved in the East Indian Ocean trade network with Arabic traders as well. As far as for the African trade items, I'll show you. Give me 1 second. Let me share my screen with you guys. Just hold on 1 second. I think this will be beneficial for you on this one. Okay, here we go. So if you go to the textbook, there is an important page. It's basically the start of section 3. And it's this page right here. I'll pull it up. So this page here, it has a huge map, okay, about the East Indian trade. So for example, here's Mombasa right there, like I was just talking. But at the top of this map, it talks about the trade goods, as you can see there. The trade goods where did they originate? What are the raw materials? Leopard skins, tortoise shells, gold from mines, ivory tusks from elephants. And then what products did they make? So these are the important trade goods that you're going to need to know. So for your reference, I'll show you the page number down here at the bottom. The actual page number is 423. Okay, 423. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing now. I'll come back to the general look. Hopefully that was beneficial for you there. Okay, moving on to the next question. T. Oatman asking for a week off for getting one right. No. Master Jack says second hour wins. Yes, you did. What are Berbers, says Master Geo. Berbers are the original inhabitants of North Africa. So they're like the ancestors of the Almoravids and the Almohads. They're like the Islamic practitioners of North Africa. Okay, what was Hausa and Benin, says Master Nick. Hausa and Benin were West African city-states that came after Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. They were given to you in the handout notes from section number 2. So Hausa was like a group of city-states that wanted to become an empire but had a lot of internal conflict. Benin, they were very artistic. They used bronze metalworking to make statues and other forms of jewelry. Well, I would love to, Emma. They are my most well-behaved class. I would say that, but they didn't win, so sorry. Sir Ducky's trying to say that they are from second hour, but I think they're lying. I think they're in third hour, from what I can tell. No, Aubrey. So not the same as the societies. The first one is going to talk about the societies, like hunter-gatherer societies, then stateless societies, and then Islamic societies. The second one talks about, in more specific, West African groups as such as empires. So that's a little bit different. Master Jack, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you all the maps and the charts. So any map that's in there, 423, the first opening map of the chapter is important. Other than that, focus on your notes. Key parts of the gold salt trade. Well, in essence, West Africa had an abundance of gold, whereas we found salt deposits underneath the Sahara Desert. So what was happening is North African Berbers, such as the Almoravids and Almohads, were having camels go into the desert, harness the salt, then travel through the Sahara Desert down to West Africa and trade for gold. So people in West Africa didn't have salt, people in North Africa didn't have gold, so it was a common exchange. But it was very dangerous because you had to cross the Sahara Desert to get to the gold, especially if you were from North Africa. So that's a key component of that. Olivia says, what is the quiz format? Maybe she was absent on Friday. So the quiz format, 20 questions of content, and the content is going to be 18 multiple choice and 2 short answer. Then the AP part is going to be one set of MCQ. So you have a stimulus with 3 multiple choice questions. And then there'll be an SAQ, stimulus, and 3 sub questions that you have to answer with 3 to 5 sentences. Master John says, what key figures do you think are the most important? I would say the ones on the review sheet, if you looked at them, Sundiata, Mansa Musa are the 2 most important. And they're both from Mali. I think Mali was probably the most powerful empire that we took a look at, and just because of the amount of gold that they had. So Master John changed that profile picture, but that is pretty bad. Okay. Okay, Mikey says, can I go over Askia Muhammad? Yeah, Askia Muhammad was a key leader from Songhai. And one of the big things that he did is he returned Songhai to a centralized form of government. Okay, he took over by overthrowing Sunni Ali's son. And then one of the things you got to understand is that creating a centralized form of government is a big thing in Africa because there weren't that many of them. So Askia Muhammad creates a central form of government for Songhai. Man's must what Mali's nephew, right? I'm guessing you're saying Mansa Musa was Mali's nephew. He wasn't Mali's nephew. He was a ruler of Mali. He was Sundiata's nephew or grandnephew, which would be basically the same thing. That's Mansa Musa. Gumagai, Yoruba was also a West African empire that focused on art. They really did focus on art, jewelry, bronzes, statues, things of that nature. Okay, that's a good amount of questions answered thus far. Are there any other questions or any important comments or anything that I could help you with at all? I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Let's see. Master Jack, great question. My day was, I'd say, fairly good. Well, mid. Mid. I was working on getting leaves. Leaves it's good to be done with it, but it's never a fun job. I was watching a little bit of football. I I listened to the Lions game. That I was watching the game, but then I had to listen. I had to pick up my daughters from dance. They had a master class, so I had to pick them up from dance, and I was sitting in the parking lot listening to it on the radio, which was kind of a cool thing. Um, Gia says the review sheet does not have to be in order, right? It does need to be in order. So you need to answer it in order to the best of your ability. Yes. And the order that I put it on the sheet, that would be helpful to me grading it. So yeah, I would really like to have that in order and numbered and defined, correct? Um, yeah, you making fun of me, Master Jack? It's okay. You can make fun of me. I have I can take it. That's okay. But thank you, Master Jack. I appreciate you asking me how my day was. Okay. No, I don't think you need to redo it. I mean, yeah, you should have those in order, but as long as they're all there this time, gee, I'll let it slide. But in the future, yeah, you should do them in order. Yes, Leaf Gang. Yes, I had to pick up the leaf so the Leaf Gang doesn't come and get me. What is Sotala? Already talked about Mombasa in this meeting. Sofala, I think both of them are East African trade cities. They're both East African trade cities. They're both right along the coastline of the Indian Ocean. Well, I do a combination of both, actually, John. I try to mulch them early on because it's easier because I'm cutting the grass anyway. But I get like a plethora of leaves. I'm on a corner lot in the back of a subdivision. My front yard is like a cul-de-sac, and then my backyard is woods. So I get a lot of leaves, and it's too many leaves to mulch. So I'll mulch them early on, but then later on, I have to either blow them into the woods in the backyard, which creates huge piles, or I have to rake them and bag them. So that's basically what I have to do there. Interesting questions for a live review. But yeah, any other questions? I'm willing to stay on for a few more minutes. My final advice is to make sure that you get ready. Don't take this quiz lightly and make sure that you're there. You know, the numbers were really low tonight. I was expecting at least 100, but we're well short of that. Thoughts on Jared Goff? I mean, today he had a rough day early on, and then he made up for it later. I thought a couple of the passes got deflected at the line. You know, they were doing a pretty good job putting pressure on him. He doesn't respond well to pressure, and he's not very mobile. So I think that when you can pressure him, getting his line of throw in, I think that's troublesome. From when you get him moving, that's troublesome. But I think he's having a good year. He's managing the game pretty well for them. They really need to rely on their running game, which they are very, very good with that. And I think using Gibbs and Montgomery out of the backfield is a great option. You know, I think getting those guys the ball in space when you have matchups with linebackers is really a smart way to go, especially when you can use Laporta in the middle, get him going in the middle, then open up the outside throws to the backs. Was Zimbabwe the city on the yeah, it's a southern city, Ryan, but it is on a major gold trade network route. So basically all the gold that's being transferred to the south is coming through Zimbabwe. Excellent. You'll have to explain tomorrow. Look forward to hearing about it. Jay Ward with the 3 dots. Okay. What are the main parts of the Trans-Saharan network that you want us to know? Just basically that the Trans-Saharan trade network was outside of the Silk Roads, I mean, one of the biggest trade networks in the world. And it basically, all the routes go through the Sahara Desert. That's what's so interesting about it, is because it connects not only different parts of Africa, but different parts of Africa to different parts of the world, of Eurasia. So I think that's one of the big things about that. Master Guy. All right, I think that's good for tonight. It's been 36 minutes. There's only 47 left. If you really do have any questions, I'll stay on and answer. But I'm going to say, have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining. I hope that this session is going to be helpful for you on tomorrow's quiz. And if you come up with any last minute questions, you can always email me or come see me in the morning or come see me at seminar. I'm always there to help, or even lunch. So, I'll be there for you guys. So make sure that you guys say thank you to your parents, that you pray for the right things, that you're being here now tomorrow, and you'll be a champion. Have a great night, and God bless.